Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome. Glad you're here. This is our presentation on doing safety reports utilizing SharePoint. And we'll go ahead and jump in. We'll do some preliminaries first. First of all, I just want to introduce myself. I am Will Cooper. I am a SharePoint solutions developer. I've been a private SharePoint consultant for more than 10 years. And I do lots and lots of things related to SharePoint and Microsoft 365. I have my own YouTube channel. It's called SharePoint Smart. I post all kinds of training videos and free content there. I hope you'll check that out. There's well more than 200 videos out there, so lots of cool stuff there. Additional to that, I have my own SharePoint product, which is SharePoint Dashboards, and that's something I handle in addition to what we're looking at today, which is Infowise Ultimate Forms. Just to tell you a little bit about Infowise, our philosophy is to make things simple to do. We want it to be easy as possible for you to be able to set up custom forms and actions and email notifications and that type of thing. We're all the time improving our product, and that's what I love about it. It just keeps getting better. Our tools are available to install in SharePoint Online or Microsoft 365. And a key aspect to our toolkit is there is never any programming, no code at all. After we get done with the main presentation, I'll tell you a little bit about SharePoint dashboards if you want to stick around. And we will be recording this, so I'll post a recording and send that out later today. And also the solution I'm going to show you is available to download for free. You can do that by installing the Ultimate Forms trial software, or if you're already an Infowise customer, you can just download the solution right after the presentation. As I mentioned, this is available for whichever version of SharePoint you're using. I'm going to be showing it in SharePoint Online, but you can use these tools in both, and it works the same. All right, so this is how I see out-of-the-box SharePoint. It's very plain. It's missing things that we want to be able to do, especially in regard to what we'll talk about today, which is a safety reporting solution. By the way, I should mention, if you have questions, I'd like to hear them. The way you can post them is to use the Q&A section in our webinar. So just click into that, post the question. It may take me a while to get to you, so please be patient, but I promise I'll try to answer all the questions before the end. And then we get to the other part of my point. Adding tools into SharePoint is necessary. So Ultimate Forms is a full solution toolkit. We're going to focus on our safety reporting system in this presentation, but you can really build just about any kind of solution that you might think of. And that's what I do in my work, is build all kinds of different SharePoint solutions, especially taking advantage of this toolkit. All right, so let's focus in on our main topic, which is safety reporting. And specifically, let's talk about the concept of an EHS system. This is referring to environment, health, and safety reporting. And this is a necessary thing for just about any kind of a business, unless you're a one-person business, I suppose. So the most important thing is we need to facilitate the ability to observe safety issues when they occur, document that, and of course have follow-up actions. Compliance is a major issue, especially as your organization grows. And of course, there are legal requirements around that. In the US, OSHA is an organization that's established to enforce these rules. So in addition to looking out for the well-being of your employees, there's legal requirements around this. It's a very critical aspect for your organization. In other countries, there are other similar kinds of organizations that enforce these rules. And the most important thing for you and your organization is that if you neglect these safety responsibilities, it is a huge liability and there can be very severe consequences. So this is absolutely essential. In terms of overall setup, we need to have a centralized location to host this tool, and we need to make it as easy as possible for people to report incidents. Those incidents could be near misses, observations, or actually things that have taken place. There's different categories for that. We'll look at how that would work. We need to have dashboards to be able to show this information. Everybody should be able to navigate that. And then, of course, we need to do some tracking to handle follow-up steps, have email notifications, that type of thing. Surrounding this, we need to enforce a positive culture of safety for our workforce, and we want to make sure everyone knows how to report issues, and we want to emphasize that by placing signs and doing presentations. Make sure everybody in the organization knows that this is a must, that you must report issues that you see and make it easy for them to do that. And this is an example of a kind of poster or something that you may have placed in your workplace, which should help people know we're supposed to report when we see safety issues. All right, so we're going to jump in, and here I am in SharePoint Online. And now we're going to start from a user perspective. I'm going to kind of walk you through the way that this system works, and then we'll look at some of the setup and that type of thing. Now, one key aspect of this solution that I view as essential is the fact that you can report incidents from your mobile phone, which means I can do it immediately when I see something, and I do not have to log into any kind of system. This is a public-facing form. So one part of this that I recommend is you're going to have signs around your workplace to let people know, hey, if you see something, report it. And then we've got a QR code, and if you scan that, it'll go direct to the public-facing form. And this is all inclusive in our solution. Now, SharePoint Online or your regular SharePoint environment, you may say to yourself, well, you have to log in to be able to access SharePoint. Not in this case. This is a feature of our system where you can do public-facing forms. It will provide a link to a page which can be accessed without logging into SharePoint and will allow people to do reports. Okay, so we're going to have those signs up. So I see something, even if I don't remember where I'm supposed to go or the link to the web page with the form, I don't have to remember. I can remember that sign hanging in the wall, just go scan it with my phone. I can open it up on my phone. Now, on mobile devices, this is going to be a responsive form, and it's going to adjust and adapt to that device. So I'll demonstrate that to you. I've got a screenshot that I want to share, and this is how it's going to look on a mobile device. Bear with me, I'm just opening that up. So it's going to adjust to the screen real estate. So we're going to go to like a vertically scrolling form, and the worker can just go through the drop-down pickers. It's going to do things like auto-populate the date, time, and the report. It's all about streamlining, making it as absolutely simple as possible for that worker to report the issue. You'll see that it'll look different on the desktop screen, so this is what you will call responsive design. Another aspect are pictures. Pictures are essential in this type of system, and while I'm reporting this issue on my phone, it's as easy as it possibly can be to handle those pictures. We have a box that you can tap into, and it's going to open up a dialog on your mobile phone. This will work whether you're on an Android device or an iOS device. You may either attach a picture if you've already taken it, or you can just tap your camera app. It will, in both cases, just upload directly to the form. It's as easy as possible for the worker, and that's really the name of the game. So let's go into our form and let's look at what that looks like. All right, so the first thing, of course, I'm going to put in my name. Now, a key part to this is we want to remove all obstacles and obstruction for somebody to make a safety report. To that end, our user is not logged into SharePoint. We're going to have a public-facing form, and they can enter this information on their device without even being logged in, and that's essential. All right, so let me fill out my report real quick. Water on the floor. I already got my date, time set, and then I'm going to say this is a incident, and we'll say this is water flooding related. I've got categories to pick from. I can set what this severity is, and then you can populate this with different buildings or rooms or things in your own environment. That's entirely customizable, and that's easy to do. All right, say there's active flooding, no workers involved. I can skip that field. Now notice it's going to require an image because images are essential in this type of system. So we want to make sure we do that. We've made it easy. Now because I'm on my desktop computer, I can just drag and drop it. I've already got a picture that I can use, so I'll just drag that out onto the form. I just kind of have some random pictures. So I'll drag that on there, and you can see it just loads right away. Very simple. That's it. This is all I have to do. So ease of use is paramount in this type of system. Nobody's going to use a safety reporting system if there's too many fields, if I have to log into something, if I don't know how to get there. Any of these kind of obstructions, even the tiniest little thing, can inhibit people from making safety reports. So this system is really geared towards making sure that none of those issues take place. So here's my dashboard. The newest record shows on top, and I've got all that critical information. I've got the date, time, report type, severity level, who reported it, so on and so forth. And then I've got my screenshot, and notice I can click on that to get more detailed information. So that's super handy. Those visuals make a big difference. All right, so now what happens? Well, one thing that happens is we're going to immediately get an email. Of course, it varies in terms of how significant the issue is, but nevertheless, I'm sure in your organization, you want to know immediately and take action whenever anything's reported, because maybe it's a critical issue and it needs to be addressed as fast as possible. So this is an example of how that email would look. New reports in, it says who made the report, and the level, severity, all those type of things. You can just click on the link right in the email. They can go right in the system and immediately begin the follow-up process. All right, so when there is an incident, it's all about corrective action. So if I go in here in SharePoint, this can all be controlled through permissions. You can make your follow-up. So now that we've got that, we've got an additional form section to handle corrective actions and resolution. All right, so we've got flooding. I'm just going to be silly with this because it's just a demonstration. And what we want is follow-up tasks to make sure that this issue gets addressed. I'm going to pick who it's assigned to. That's automatically going to send email notifications as well. So we'll have a assigned date. By default, notice it set due date as 3 days from today. I could override that if I want to. Again, we're just trying to make things as easy as possible. So now I've got a corrective action set. And once that's addressed, then ultimately we'll be able to close out the issue. Okay, so this is still on a new status. I can have as many corrective actions as I need, and I can, of course, track and monitor that to make sure things are getting done. Of course, once the issue is all set, we can say, well, I did this task, that's complete. We can mark that. And then at the very end, we need somebody to sign off and, basically say they've confirmed that everything's resolved and all that type of thing. The plumber came. The leak is fixed. Everything is good. Okay, obviously we need lots more detail. Normally I'm just demonstrating. Okay, so once I've done everything at the very tail end of the process, now I can either manually update the status on this. I can say it's in progress, etc. Or you'll see when I do set resolved, it's going to date time stamp that. It's going to update the status, and then that'll fall down the system. So now I have one centralized dashboard where I can check on resolution and follow-up steps. So it's easy, and I can just drill down into things that are critical or need follow-up and that type of thing. Now, directly from the dashboard, I can also click on this corrective actions link. It'll list out any of those individual corrective actions. So that repeating table is really important because in some cases, there could be multiple tasks that need to take place in order to do that. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit about how this whole thing is constructed. So again, I do want to emphasize later today, after this presentation, this will be provided as a template. Everything I'm showing you, you can download and load into your own SharePoint as a part of our software tools. So what I'm going to do is go into the form designer, and I'll talk to you about that. So this is a pre-built solution, but the thing that's nice about this, as in any workplace, you have your own fields that you want to put in. You want to adapt that and adjust it according to the information that you want to get. You're going to have your own rules on email follow-ups, all those type of things. So our form designer tool is where you set everything up. It's a drag and drop style interface. You just drag the fields out onto the form, and you can do things like control the columns that appear in a section, make it appear however you want. It's very easy to change the colors and styling. If I want to, for example, do a different background color for this, I can just hit a button like that, and what you see is what you get. So it's very easy to make adjustments in the form. And then you can also do things to make it dynamic. You might notice when I did my report that the corrective action resolution, those don't appear when somebody initially does the report, and that's important. I'm trying to make that as simple as possible. So I can set business rules that control different form sections. It very well might be the case you want the manager notes to be private and only visible to your management and not available to regular employees. And you can control that through these rules. So in this case, I've got a simple one. I said, I don't want to show corrective actions until we get to the edit or display form. So that's what makes it hidden on the new form. Very handy. So the form designer is fully adjustable. You can add buttons, control the fields, adjust the validation rules however you want to adjust it to your organization. It's totally customizable. The email alerts are easy to do. Those are baked into the system. So rather than having to do it through something very convoluted like Power Automate, I can just do it directly through SharePoint. And it's incredibly simple. When I create a role, I just come in and name the role. This is for a new safety report. I can define my recipients. Those could be people in fields in the form. It could be people that are part of a SharePoint group. It could be to any email address that you want. Very configurable. You can even customize who it's being sent from. You might want it to come from like an HR service account or something like that. That also is dynamic and configurable. In this case, it's very simple. Whenever an item's added, I want to get the email. You can set up other roles for follow-ups. You could do it when the status gets updated. You can have emails when new tasks are assigned. And you can do reminders according to after a due date is passed. So there's due dates attached to those follow-up actions, and of course we're going to want to take advantage of that as well. And then the content of the email is very easy to work with. We have this visual editor tool, and all you have to do in the tool is just reference the content from the form. So I can dynamically reference fields by using this link. I just pick whatever fields I want to show, and then it just shows that field inside of square brackets. Same concept both for the email subject and for the body. And then you can use the styling controls to make this appear however you want. You can see I've already done a little bit of highlighting just to make things stand out. Very easy to do. Also notice I've set this email with the high importance. I really want it to stand out. So it's a really handy tool, and it's very handy to be able to work with that directly by going through SharePoint rather than having to do a bunch of different workflows with the developer tool, which is Power Automate. Let's talk about the public-facing form. That's a key part of the solution. Again, you may be thinking, in your normal SharePoint setup, there is no way for anyone to access a form unless they're logged in and a regular user in your SharePoint. There's no exceptions. Microsoft provides no utility for public-facing forms. Our system does allow for that. If I click on this external form link, you can turn this on, and this allows what I called an intake form, a form for people to make new submissions. So I have it set to allow for new submissions, and our service will provide you a URL that you can use that anyone can access by just providing them the link. Additional to that, we have the QR code corresponding to the URL. If you recall in my document that I showed earlier, which showed a poster that you could put up on a wall, I included the QR code. And that matters to us because we want people just to remember the safety notices are on the wall, because they may not be likely to remember a long URL. And so all they have to do is just run to that sign, take their phone out, and they just hold the camera up to the link, and boom, it'll just send them right to the form. So that's a really handy part of the solution. This is automatically included. You don't have to do any kind of special setup. You don't have to do anything on your public website. None of those kind of things. Now you can do a public form and host it inside of your public website if you want to get a little more slick, but it is not required for you to do that. All right, let me pause for a second. I want to check and see if you guys have questions or comments before I continue along with the presentation. So if you guys have any burning questions or requirements in your safety system, this would be a very good time to post that in the Q&A in our webinar. I don't see any questions at the moment, but I will give you time to think on that because I do like questions. And think about the requirements of what you want in your safety reporting solution. I'll try to address those. And I'll go ahead and continue on with part of my presentation. So this is all built into my SharePoint site. There are two main lists. Those are the safety reports list. That's the main reporting list. And then, of course, correlated with that, we also have corrective actions. We can go directly to the corrective actions if we want to browse and look at those independently and make sure they're all resolved. So I can just go to that list and access those forms directly if I want to. It just gives us an alternative path to get there. Notice that the safety report that it's tied to is automatically included in that. It automatically pulls that down. And those can have their own attachments as well. And naturally, corrective actions have a status to make sure they get resolved. Let me talk about accessibility to the tools a little bit. So this is part of the Infowise Ultimate Forms software. If you've never seen our software or used it, the best thing and most important thing you should know is you can try it for yourself for free. If you go to our website and click Try Now for free, we provide this for you to download and install into your tenant. It's our full software with no limit, other than it'll time out after 30 days. So everything I've shown, you can try that out very easily. Another thing you can do, if you wish, is have a conversation with us. Right now, I can't talk to you other than our Q&A chat, but if you want to set up a web meeting with us, you can sign up for that on our main page. If you scroll down through our page, you're going to find that there's a book a demo button, and that'll send us an email. We'll schedule a time. We'll meet with you. We'll talk it through and help you work out any questions or issues that you have on that. Pricing information is pretty straightforward. I'll leave that to you. Just click on the pricing link on there. We have lots of resources to help you learn how to use our tools. And you can find those in our tutorial section and also by clicking on training. We have a free training called Kickstart Training, which you can go through. Lots of different kinds of solutions that we provide. One type of solution that I also would emphasize that's included in our software is a safety inspections system, which is geared around regular inspections of different areas of your business. And that would work well hand in hand with this type of solution. All of these templates are available to you through our software from our main settings screen. When you're in the main settings screen, you can just click on Solution Catalog, and there are hundreds of solutions. In fact, after I post this one today, there are 421, so quite a lot of options. This is a webinar-based solution. You can see the one that I posted from last month, and the one I'm doing right now is going to show as the very first tile in our webinars here, and all that you have to do is just click into that. It'll give you some directions. There's a link to the recorded video. You can just click install. You'll want to put that in an empty SharePoint site, and you'll be able to do everything that I'm showing. Another thing I want to talk about is some of the things that you see going on the dashboard. So in SharePoint, you can do column and view formatting to help things look nicer, and some of those are being used. These are dashboard templates, and that's part of something that is available additional to the Infowise tools. That's referred to as SharePoint dashboards. SharePoint dashboards is its own site aside from Ultimate Forms. You can also try this out for free. If you click on Get Started, and then you can click on that first option, you can get unlimited access to 21 templates that'll help you see how the tool works, and you can begin to experiment and see how that works. Some of the things that are being used in this one, for example, the form buttons, the report date time, which has different color highlighting, and also these image boxes are all various templates that are available in the SharePoint dashboard site. SharePoint dashboard site has 227 templates as of this time to do all kinds of different formatting in your SharePoint site. So it's a very nice companion tool to use in addition to Infowise Ultimate Forms. This formatting is included as part of the Infowise template, so you'll automatically get that when you download and set up this solution. So that's the main information that I wanted to present to you guys. Let me go ahead and pause again and see if we have any questions. Lucia has a good question about, can users post anonymously? Yes, they can. The public-facing form does provide that, see if I can say this right, anonymity. I don't know if I said that right, but that's up to you. In the example I've set up currently, they would provide their name. If you want to facilitate that, that would be very easy to do. I would simply go into Form Designer. Right now, that reporter field is set as required. I could make that not required. So I literally would just be able to come in here and I can just set that not required, and that would give you the ability to allow them to report anonymously if you wish. Very good question. All right, what other questions do you guys have? Think about your workplace and think about safety issues that occur and your use case scenarios. What kinds of requirements would you have for your own system? I've got a quiet crowd, but I'm betting I'm going to get a couple more questions here in a second. While you're doing that, let me talk to you a little bit more about the different resources available to you. Of course, all our Infowise customers, we provide ongoing support for all your users when you use this software. And we're all the time putting articles up on our blog about new features that are included. The pricing is based on the number of users using your system. You can look at that on the pricing page. And of course, we're happy to give you more information on that if you want to pursue the solution more. But really a big advantage of the system that I emphasized at the beginning is the fact that you don't have to do any custom code. It's very easy to work with. And of course, there are lots and lots of other solutions that you can download. So if I go back to the solution catalog and go to webinars, in fact, earlier this year, we did our inspection system. So this is allowing you to do regular scheduled inspections where you can inspect different areas in your facilities. And this would be another solution that you can download and try out for yourself. If you want to understand more about how that works, you can view the recorded presentation about that system, and you can have two safety-related systems working side by side. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and stop the webinar recording, but I will stay on to answer questions.